One of the most shocking things that came out during the trial between Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs was something Cassie talked about in court called freak-offs. This strange and disturbing word became a big part of her testimony and had everyone in the courtroom paying close attention. According to Cassie, these freak-offs started about a year into her relationship with Diddy. At the time, she was only around 21 or 22 years old, and she says she didn't really know what she was getting into. She explained that Diddy told her what these events were about and that he wanted her to take part in them. He said he liked to watch her be with other people while he watched from the side. Cassie said she agreed to do it because she was young, she loved him, and she wanted to make him happy, even though deep down, she felt uncomfortable and wasn't in control of the situation. Cassie told the court that Diddy was the one who planned everything. She didn't have a say in how things went. He told her what to wear, how the room should be lit, and even exactly how she should act during these encounters. She said it wasn't something she chose to do freely, but something she felt she had to do to keep his attention. She also shared that these freak-offs made her feel like that was the only time he really noticed her or showed her any kind of affection. That made it even more confusing and painful for her because, even though she didn't want to do it, she felt like it was the only way to stay close to him. In court, her voice stayed calm while she shared these personal and emotional memories, but the things she said were powerful and serious. The people in the courtroom could feel how real and painful her experience was. Some of them looked shocked, and others just sat in silence, trying to take it all in. Cassie also said that being part of these moments didn't make her feel loved or respected. Instead, she felt like she was being controlled by someone who had all the power in the relationship. What's even more disturbing is that Cassie said she started to believe these freak-offs were normal because they kept happening, and Diddy kept making her feel like this was just part of what their relationship was. She even admitted that at times she thought she enjoyed them, but it was only because they gave her a chance to spend time alone with Diddy, which was something she wanted so badly. She still loved him during that time, and that made it even harder for her to see how wrong it all was. The way Cassie described these events helped people see that what might look like a choice on the outside can actually be something someone is forced into through emotional control. She wasn't just talking about physical actions. She was showing how Diddy had taken over her thoughts and feelings in a way that made her do things she didn't truly want to do. This part of her testimony has become one of the most talked about moments in the trial, and it's clear that it left a big impact on everyone who heard it. Another major moment in the trial between Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs came when Cassie talked about the control and abuse she says she experienced during their relationship. One of the most serious things she mentioned was that Diddy had videos of her from their private moments, videos that she didn't want the public to see. According to Cassie, Diddy used these videos to keep her under control. She said he told her that if she ever tried to leave him or speak out, he could release those videos and ruin her career. This made her feel trapped. She was scared that if she upset him, he would use that power against her. That kind of fear made it really hard for her to feel like she could make her own decisions or leave the relationship when she wanted to. She also told the court about a time in 2016 when a video showed Diddy physically hurting her in a hotel. In the video, Diddy is seen attacking Cassie, and it shocked a lot of people who watched it. Cassie said that this moment happened right after one of those freak-off situations, and that makes it important to the case. The reason why is because the prosecutors, those are the lawyers trying to prove that Diddy did something wrong, are saying this isn't just about a toxic relationship. They say this is about something much bigger and more dangerous: sex trafficking. By showing this video and connecting it to the freak-offs, they are trying to prove that Diddy didn't just hurt Cassie emotionally and physically. He was also using her in a harmful and illegal way. Cassie said that Diddy controlled almost every part of her life. It wasn't just about videos or emotional abuse. She said he would tell her what to do, what to wear, who to be around, and even how to act in private situations. She said he had so many resources, like money, people, and power, that she felt like she couldn't say no or escape. She also said that she was afraid he would hurt her reputation or make her look bad if she ever spoke out. That fear was always hanging over her, and it's a big part of why she stayed quiet for so long. The people in the courtroom listened closely as Cassie shared these painful stories. Some of them had never seen the video before and were shocked by what they saw. The prosecutors believed that this kind of control and fear shows that Cassie wasn't truly free in the relationship. Even if things looked okay from the outside, she was dealing with pressure, threats, and manipulation on the inside. And in the eyes of the law, if someone is being forced to do something, either by fear or by someone using power over them, that can count as trafficking, especially if it involves sexual acts and control. Diddy's lawyers are trying to say that Cassie was in a relationship with him for a long time and that she agreed to be part of those situations. But Cassie and the prosecutors are saying that what looked like consent wasn't real because it came from fear. When someone is scared of being hurt or humiliated, it's not truly their choice. This is one of the biggest questions in the trial. Was Cassie a willing girlfriend, or was she a victim of someone who used his power to control her life? Cassie stayed calm while sharing these stories, but her words carried a lot of weight. She talked about things that were hard to say and even harder to hear, and her testimony is now a key part of the case. This trial isn't just about what happened between two people. It's about how power, fear, and abuse can be used to trap someone, even in a relationship that looks normal from the outside. One of the biggest parts of this case between Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs is how each side is trying to tell their own version of the story and how the public is reacting to it all. In the courtroom, it's not just about who says what, but how both the prosecution and the defense explain what those stories really mean. The prosecution is the team trying to prove that Diddy is guilty of some very serious crimes, including sex trafficking, abuse, and using fear to control people. On the other hand, the defense is the team trying to prove that Diddy is not guilty and that this whole case is being blown out of proportion. So here's how each side is playing it. The prosecution says that Diddy was in full control of Cassie during their relationship. They believe that even though it might have looked like she was agreeing to things, deep down, she wasn't really choosing to do them freely. They're calling it a case of power and manipulation. They argue that if someone is afraid of what might happen if they say no, then it's not really their choice. That's what they call coercion, and in legal terms, that can be part of sex trafficking if it involves controlling someone for sexual reasons. But Diddy's lawyers are fighting back hard. They say this is just a case of a bad breakup being turned into something criminal. They say that Cassie was in a long relationship with Diddy, almost 10 years, and that during that time, she was an adult who made her own decisions. They argue that just because the relationship had strange or dramatic moments, that doesn't mean it was illegal. They're also saying that Cassie is only coming forward now because Diddy is rich and famous, and they claim she might want money or attention. This is where things get really tricky. On social media, in the news, and even in the courtroom, people are very divided. Some people believe Cassie completely and think Diddy used his fame and power to hide how he really treated her. Others believe Diddy's side and think Cassie might be exaggerating or lying to get something out of him. The jury, the group of regular people who will decide if Diddy is guilty or not, has a hard job. They have to look past the fame, the rumors, and the headlines and focus only on the facts of the case. Another thing to keep in mind is that this trial isn't just happening in the courtroom. It's also happening online. People on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube are constantly talking about it. Videos from the trial are going viral. Some clips show Cassie calmly sharing her story, while others show Diddy looking serious and silent in his seat. Every little look, every moment, gets picked apart and shared by millions of people. Even the way Diddy showed up to court got people talking. He looked different, older, with gray hair, and some people thought he was trying to look more serious or get sympathy from the jury. But no matter how he looks, the evidence and the testimony are what matter most. And when the jury watches videos like the 2016 hotel footage where he appears to attack Cassie, it puts a big spotlight on the question of whether this was just a toxic relationship or something criminal. At the end of the day, the trial is forcing people to think about a lot of big issues. What does consent really mean? Can someone be in a long relationship and still be a victim? How much power does a celebrity have behind closed doors? And most importantly, was Cassie truly free to make her own choices, or was she under Diddy's control the entire time? This case is more than just celebrity gossip. It's about power, control, and the difference between love and manipulation. And depending on what the jury decides, it could change everything for both Diddy and Cassie. One of the wildest and most talked about moments in the trial between Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs happened when a brand new witness stepped into the courtroom. Just when everyone thought Cassie's story had already shocked the world, a man named Daniel Phillips took the stand and made everything even more intense. Daniel is a professional dancer who used to perform at Diddy's private parties. What he shared in court took things to a whole new level and completely flipped the way some people were thinking about the case. Daniel told the court about the time he was invited to one of Diddy's parties, but it turned out to be much more than just dancing. He said that Cassie was the one who opened the door, and she was wearing a red wig. Inside the room was another man with his face mostly covered by a hat and a bandana. According to Daniel, Cassie said that man was her husband, but it was clear to him that the man watching them was Diddy. Daniel said that he and Cassie were expected to do things with each other while Diddy watched from the side, and Diddy would sometimes even give instructions or react if he didn't like what was happening. For example, Daniel claimed that Diddy was obsessed with everything being covered in baby oil and got upset when there wasn't enough. What really shocked people even more were some of the details Daniel described. He said that Cassie not only participated but also told him what to do, even correcting him during certain moments. At one point, he claimed that Cassie asked him to do something strange that he had never done before, and when he wasn't sure how to do it, she gave him instructions and told him how to do it the right way. This left the entire courtroom speechless. Some people online were confused. Others were angry. And a lot of viewers started asking the big question. If Cassie was giving directions and seemed to be in control, was she really a victim, or was she actually in charge? This is exactly the kind of moment Diddy's legal team is using to defend him. They're pointing to Daniel's story to show that Cassie may have had more control over the situation than people think. They want the jury to believe that she wasn't forced, but that she wanted to be there, made choices, and even managed other people's actions. But the prosecution and many people online see it very differently. They say this is actually a perfect example of emotional control and psychological abuse. Just because someone looks like they're agreeing to something or giving instructions doesn't mean they're doing it freely. When someone is scared, manipulated, or brainwashed by someone more powerful, they might go along with things just to avoid getting hurt or to stay in that person's good graces. One powerful comment online said it best: consent isn't real if someone is being controlled behind the scenes. And this is what the whole trial seems to come down to. It's not just about what people did. It's about why they did it and whether they were truly free to make their own choices. In this situation, it's clear that Cassie may have been in a long relationship with Diddy, but many signs show that she wasn't safe, emotionally or physically. And Daniel's story wasn't the only thing making headlines. People in the courtroom said that when he described these events, Diddy's own children were present. His daughters reportedly left the courtroom because the testimony was too upsetting, while his son stayed to hear it all. That moment showed just how serious and emotional this trial really is, not just for Cassie and Diddy, but for everyone around them. This part of the trial also made it clear that what's being discussed goes far beyond a celebrity relationship. It's about how power and fear can be used to blur the lines between what someone wants and what they feel forced to do. It's about how someone can be pulled into a world where they're expected to act a certain way, even if it hurts them. And when you're dealing with someone as rich and famous as Diddy, the stakes are even higher, because the people around him might be afraid to speak up or tell the truth. The courtroom was buzzing, and the internet was exploding with reactions. Some people said they were finally starting to see the full picture. Others felt even more confused. But one thing was for sure: Daniel's story added a whole new layer to the trial and made it even harder to ignore the deeper problems behind the fame, the parties, and the public image.